Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Intent to Injure Vegas Update podcast. When we're coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada, I'm Eric Zaleski.
I'm Colin Fawcett.
Fawcett, the big guy, Cologne Owl in our league, making his debut here on the hockey podcast. We just filmed one for our fantasy football league, and we understand that the majority of you guys are in there, so we won't repeat all the stories here. However, if you're in the hockey league and you're not in the football league, feel free to reach out to hear some of the stories. It's been a heck of a trip. We are all up. Robbie Wright also here with us. His team name is the Real Deal Neals. There were 4. We're down to 3. Just a little update on the gambling front for us, I guess. The sports book. I've had 2 hockey bets so far, and you've had 3.
I've had 3.
And we have not lost one. We have been dead on, just collecting cash from Vegas. The first one, and it was our opening bet into the trip, was the Detroit Red Wings money line at the Toronto Maple Leafs. A big win, never in question. The Red Wings, a team that has been good ever since we were born. We knew that that's who we wanted to put our cash on. Yeah. Mike Babcock, Detroit Red Wings, thank you very much for your efforts.
Yeah, I love that bet from the start. And just kind of a side note on that bet. After we cashed it in, I walked up to the guy at the Luxor Sportsbook and told you, I got a really fucking dull cash in for you here. He suspected it was a push, but turns out it was just a Red Wings win over the Leafs. So kind of a dull bet in the grand scheme of what's going on here this weekend in Vegas, but we'll take it nonetheless.
Yeah, and it was nice to get things started off on the right foot. The second bet that we did was a bet that everybody saw coming. It was a bet that when we booked this trip, 5-6 months ago.
Yeah, we were looking at this thing in May.
I took one look at the schedule and I said this was meant to be Penn hosting Isle Saturday night. Penn's coming off that tough regulation loss to Dallas. You knew they were going to respond. We, as in Colin, Robbie, and I, went large on the Pittsburgh Penguin money line, so Penn's to win. They got down 1-0 in the first period. A little nervous moving forward from there. Tensions running high as we simultaneously had heavy cash on the Florida State Seminoles money line for them to win. Shout out to them. Penguins respond in the second period, a 5-on-3. My boy, for Talking's book service, Evgeny Malkin getting him on the board early. Moments later, another shot from the point from Malkin, deflected in by Patrick Hornquist, who you noted this morning at breakfast is now the number 1 scorer.
He's the leader.
In
fantasy
by half
points. A point. I'm not sure what the discrepancy is there. Maybe shots on goal, maybe plus minus. I thought Sid had roughly the same amount of points, but really impressive start for Hornquist. It just goes to show what playing on a line with the 87 can do for you. And it really makes you wonder what a player like myself or Eric could do on a line with 87. It really could be something to see.
Especially
if that stiff Hornquist can put up 35 points in fantasy.
Especially in the Ice Castle B League.
Yeah.
We might put up a few points with Sid.
Yeah, could be fun to watch.
And also to finish that, Hornquist ended the game with an empty net. Islanders were coming late. Penn's PK went 6 for 6 last night. Special thanks to Marc-Andre Fleury for that. Pens get the job done. Also, during the game, he slipped in a real sneaky Habs moneyline bet. They were victorious over the Avalanche. And now joining us here, Robbie Wright, sporting the Mighty Duck shirt. Will you turn around for us, Robbie? And there he is, Adam Banks, a.k.a. Banksy.
Cake here.
While we have Robbie here, and on the hockey front, I mentioned during the last podcast, Robbie and I made a bet. James Neal, over-under, 29 goals. I have the under. He has the over. Jimmy Neal got on the board. He got on the board Friday night with his first goal of the season. But, Robbie, we were just talking about Patrick Hornquist, and that was obviously a guy that was in the deal for Jimmy Neal. Hornquist has been tearing it up, showing the world really just what you can do when you're on a line with a guy like Crosby or a guy like Malkin. Really makes you question the kind of player that James Neal is, although I know you feel differently about it.
I mean, it's more of a man crush than anything. I think it's a mix between he's just, if you ever seen his NHL 36, it kind of changed my life. He takes a lot of pride in his hair. I take a lot of pride in my hair. He has a nice release. I have arguably one of the better releases in the world too. We have a lot in common. Me personally, I think the Penguins should trade back. I like to trade Paul Martin for James Neal for the trade deadline. I think it's a win-win for everybody. It's all about he's a great human being. He respects women.
I believe that is highly debatable based off some of the stories that I've heard.
Something that should be noted, I think this may have been lost between the two podcasts we've done so far, but on the topic of hair, Robbie noted that James Neal has some impressive hair, which he certainly does.
This is good. On
the note of Robbie's hair, Mr. Robert Wright tried to sneak a very large can of hairspray onto our flight today. And to Eric and my dismay, they actually allowed him to bring it on all the way through to Las Vegas here. Which, I mean, I come from sort of the school of thought that no man should really be using hairspray.
And there it is.
However,
we insisted that the security people at the airport just go ahead and keep this. I said, do you really have to give this back? Tresemme, superior hold and with touchable feel, extra firm control. Very questionable item brought by Mr. Wright. But we see the parallels here.
We've had a really nice trip so far. So if the hairspray, maybe it's the hairspray, maybe it's something else that's bringing us this good luck. So if we come back again, maybe the hairspray
got to stay.
Will come along with us. Maybe as a little bit of a good luck charm.
Less than 3 ounces they allow apparently.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, we're getting ready to head down to the sports book here and then over to the Caesars Palace tonight for a nice little buffet and a little Sunday night football. Might catch a hockey game or two in the middle of that as well. I don't know if I mentioned this on this podcast, the other podcast, or both, but we're all up as we speak. So unless something goes really effing haywire tonight, we're coming back with a little cash and we're looking to celebrate. So for Mr. Wright, Mr. Fawcett, and myself, we thank you for joining us here on the Intent to Injure Vegas update. We wish everybody the best of luck this week, and we will be back most likely either Monday or Tuesday with the weekly recap video. Have a good one, everybody.